All right, I want to give a quick another channel update as to what we're going to be discussing in terms of adding foundation, because we are still in the foundation phase, probably for the next 10 to 15 videos. So hang in there with me because we have to build foundation, otherwise we will fail in our endeavor to educate about these mystical, spiritual, energetic issues. Now, I'm going to throw a couple of things out there that I want you to think about. What is the most important thing that one individual can give to another? Is it love? Is it money? Is it security, safety? What is it? Well, the answer is really simple. It is your inner currency, your basic attention, your energetically focused attention. It is your time, because time is so precious and valuable. And of course, your energy. So attention, time, and energy are the three biggies. And I just call it currency, because in the universe, that is all that matters. Time, energy, attention, that is what you give. Now, some people will say love. Love is an energy. So I'm not, we're talking in general. So I just want you to think about that, because the topic for today was supposed to be about the synergy cell, i.e. living in a holographic universe, actually a holographic a planetary video game, hologram. And in video games, you do what? You increase your energy bar and you level up. So the synergy cell is the same thing as an internal battery. But I can't get into that today because, hot off the press, we got a young athlete who, in a football game in the Buffalo Bills, actually gives a hit and ends up with a, quote, heart attack. It was actually what we call a cardiac arrest and not a heart attack. A heart attack is a coronary artery event or a circulatory event. This was a literal stoppage of his heart, but it looks like he's now starting to recover somewhat, so that's good news. But when you look at the news and you begin to scour the events over the last few years, you'll find out this is starting to become commonplace where young, 19, 20, 21, 22, this guy was 24 years old, are just dropping dead. So, why is that? Well, what has happened in the last few years? And what has been given out? Now, of course, we can't come out and use the C and the V words. Got to get their channel shut down, so we have to go into code word, papaya juice. Of any kind, at any age, for anybody. And why? Because of the encoding. And see, since we are students of the light, we must understand that light directed by thought and intention carries a code. God creates with a code, or prime source, creator love, as I like to say, creates with a code and a codec. And literally your body is an expansion of that compressed code that we call the genetics. 23 plus 23 equal 46 total chromosomes. And then out of those 23, 2 determine your sex. the X and the Y chromosomes, 2X female, XY male. But it is genetically encoded. So the whole expression of who you are, what you are, is genetically encoded. Go see my last Instagram post that shows the human brain lit up, looking like a Christmas tree. But it's just showing you what the genetic code looks like when it fires up. It literally fires up, and there's a picture of a neuron, which are the building blocks of brain cells and neurological cells. They are called neurons, and those little extensions that you see coming out are called dendrites. And you'll see a little bit of, if you look at the picture closely, you'll see a little electricity going between the dendrites, and this is how they communicate, through biochemical and bioelectrical communication. Anyway, I'm getting off subject. I want to talk about why we want to think about why in the last few years we have an epidemic of young athletes. Not just people, but these are young athletes, highly trained, top condition, and young, just dropping dead. And we don't hear about it in the news. We heard about this case because it happened in broad daylight in a major game in the NFL. So it was big time news because it was Monday Night Football, the only game that was on last week. And I forget the young man's name. I'm not concerned with one individual right now, though I wish him a speedy recovery, and I hope his family's doing okay. I want us to think about what has happened and why young men and women, but mainly young men, are just going poof. It is it's funny because, well, it's not funny. This is all a tragedy. But yeah, if you look through the recent events, you're going to find probably 69, 70 athletes just like this in all the four major sports, including soccer. But the four major sports in the U.S. Excuse me, I'm holding my iPad by hand. I got to start using my iPhone for these things. I have a pretty good setup for the iPhone, but I just came back from the gym and having dinner, and so I just wanted to get this out here. Light codes, genetic codes, patterns of thinking, codes, expanding your genetic capacity, codes. All right, so, and then what is it that is being taken in as papaya juice that could possibly be interfering with the codec of humanity? What could be interfering with the codec of these young athletes? We cannot discuss it unless we use code. But then again, we are talking about the code. From the genetic code, which by the way is a light code, through the light codes and through using that light energy that literally carries information, aka a code, a universal code. So we have to get into that. So I want you to think about that. We can think about the synergy cell or the energy cell, or the etheric body. There's many names for it. Metaphysical studies have, a lot of names for the same thing. And so we'll clarify some of that. But I just want you to think about, most important things you can give it another human being is your energy, attention, and your what the hell was it? Your attention, your energy, which is a form of currency, and look at what that means as far as your your synergy cell or your internal battery. But you're giving somebody your time, your attention, and energy, man. That's it. That's huge. That's it. That's it. And some of you have gotten my time, attention, and energy and had no idea how valuable it was. No, you just took it for granted. I guarantee before this life is over, you will not have taken that experience for granted. But listen, this is not about me going on an ego trip. This is about energy speaking. This is about codex. This is about papaya juice. This is about young athletes dying. This is about us understanding how the synergy cell works. And you must understand the value, especially if it is an intelligent, high value person that's giving you time and energy and attention. That is universal currency, my friends. Doesn't get any bigger than that, especially in 3D planet Earth. So I'm going to sign off with that. I want you to think about the athletes. I want you to think about codes, codex, light codes, genetic codes. Think about the chromosomes. Maybe do some research. And then I want to get into we're going to have to take a little side journey into parasites, bacteria, and funguses, and how that all interrelates, because they have their own codes. And so, if you know a person's code, there are psychological codes, there are sexual codes, there are buttons that get pushed. If you read that well, which means you read energy well, you can pretty much be the master in any room that you walk in, because you'll immediately be able to go up to people, understand their codec, and begin to push buttons if you want to manipulate the system. The situation. There's probably no need to do that, but if things get out of hand, it's good to have in your back pocket. What I am saying is that, let's say you're with your significant other, you should be able to read their codec. Me being in the mental health profession, being an MD, et cetera, not that I'm here as an MD, so please don't get that wrong. We're not here to talk about a whole lot of medical, dry, boring medical stuff, but we'll get into a little bit of it. But, even with what I've learned is these developmentally disabled kids and young adults, they're, quote, behavioral problems, but if you recognize and connect and know their codec, what makes them tick, they become quite well behaved. Unfortunately, most of them are sugar addicts, and that's another discussion for another day, because most of you are carbohydrate, sugar, and starch addicts. That's something for another topic. When we get into dis-ease and the codec of disease and what's going on worldwide to create an epidemic of hyperinsulinemia and insulin resistance. Again, another topic for another day. These are all things that are coming in future videos, but again, we're laying topic. So, we're laying foundation. So I just wanted to, at least put out a couple of videos a week to keep the community connected. And we're trying to form community. So comment, subscribe, like, whatever you got to do to create the community. It's your job just as well as my job to try and create community, and then create a live event, and maybe even create a retreat where we have an event somewhere that we can all go to and actually connect on a more intimate or physical level. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end it, because we're getting a little bit. We're at 14 minutes. A minute to be like 8 minutes. So I will see everybody later. Remember, it is much better to see someone with the one eye than with the two eyes. So I am coming to teach you how to see with the one All right? We don't even need to talk. This is what this means, because we use intuition, ESP, to understand without language what is being said. And then it all comes from here, the heart mind. And then we say goodbye. Later. And see, here I go with, I need the remote. See, if I had the remote, I could just go ahead and turn this off without a problem. See? But I don't.